The biggest week of the year in Queensland racing. It's Stradbroke week this Saturday, and from readybet.com.au to talk about the race, we've got Cameron O'Brien on the line. How you going, Cam?
Yeah, I'm really good, Mark. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Apologies for my voice. If a few have picked it, I've had a bit of a rough week, but back on deck now, which is good. Yeah, so Stradbroke, really good race, and also just overall, really good meeting with the Q22 and the 2-year-old Group 1 as well.
Yeah, it is. It's a great meeting. I guess it's their masthead, figurehead meeting for the winter for their carnival,
Mm.
and the Stradbroke is always their best race. And this is a really interesting version of the Stradbroke, and yeah, the JJ Adkins as well. It's a very good one to bet at, I think.
Yeah, it should be good. And we'll just talk about, just before we jump into the race, something that you guys are doing at Ready Bet each week, and that's head-to-head multis with the racing. So
Yep.
it's taking the biggest races, or a couple of the biggest races in each of the, I guess, the bigger meetings for the day, and pitting a
Yeah.
couple of horses against each other. Do you just want to explain how it works?
Yeah, it's a new bet type we've come up with just to try to just a different kind of angle. So the two biggest races at the two best meetings, it'll generally be Melbourne and Sydney, but right now this weekend it'll be the Brisbane meeting, the Eagle Farm meeting, and the Melbourne meeting, Flemington. And so yeah, we picked the two biggest races, and we picked two horses who are highly fancied in the market, and basically have a bet type where you got to pick who's gonna beat the other home in a match race out of those two horses, and it's a double. So in races 7 and 8 at Brisbane on Saturday, we'll have the JJ Adkins race 7, the Stradbroke race 8, two horses in the JJ Adkins. You got to pick who's going to finish, closer up. They don't have to win the race. You've got to pick who's going to be first home out of those two
Mm.
horses into the second race, which is in this case is the Stradbroke, who's going to finish, the higher up out of those two. So in the Stradbroke, for example, the two horses will be the favourite Think About It and the second favourite Hawaii 50. And so you got to say, all right, who's going to finish home? Who's going to finish first home out of these two horses? And obviously, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you Think About It, will, because he's a favourite," but there'll be others who will like I do, Hawaii 50. And so then we'll offer up the four combinations with odds on the four combinations, and you pick the one you want to back. I reckon it's a really fun bet type. As I was saying to you off air just before, if I could bet on this, I would.
Yeah, and the important thing to note, of course, that they don't actually have to win the race. It's just a match race
No,
between those two horses.
they can finish 12th and 13th, and the one who finished 12th is the winner of that leg, basically.
Yeah,
It's a bet. It's a race within a race.
yeah, interesting stuff. Definitely be having a crack at it, and hopefully take a chunk out of you guys this weekend.
Yes. Well, you're about to get my tips, so yeah, that might help.
Well, yeah, the Stradbroke, as usual, over the 1400 at Eagle Farm. Big field with a few emergencies. And yeah, we're going to go through a few of your favourites, but just a few notes on the emergencies, I think, because yeah, it does make a bit of a difference in the field.
It does, yeah. So there's five emergencies in the race, and two of them are solid winning chances in number 20 Opal Ridge and number 23 Yellow Brick. And so the markets I'm about to tell you now assume that the five emergencies won't get a run because all five of them, there's no scratchings right now. So right now, all five of them aren't in the field. So if they're all scratched, then this will be what my market is that you're about to get. But yeah, if Opal Ridge got a run, it's the second emergency. It's obviously more likely to get a run than the fifth emergency Yellow Brick. But Opal Ridge is about a $15 chance on my prices, so it would be a chance. And Yellow Brick about a $14 chance as well on my prices if it can get a run. So they are legitimate chances, but leaving them out because they probably won't get a run. You'd think the only reason one of the horses above them in the order would scratch would be if they got sick. So I think that they won't get a run, but if they do, those two horses are a chance.
No worries. We'll note that as we go through the prices. So over the 1400 at Eagle Farm, big field as usual. Just in
Yep.
terms of the speed, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it should be at least good. Should be at least a good tempo. A big field like this, a race like the Stradbroke, tends to be at least an even good pace. Gentleman Roy kicks up, and with Rothfire having drawn the absolute outside barrier 23, which will come into barrier 18, of course, and him pressing on, you think that will set up at least an even to good tempo. Scalapini, Hawaii 50 close up, and there's others drawn wide like Holyfield who could push on as well. So you'd think it will be run. And Eagle Farm 1400 is very, very fair. It's like Flemington. You don't have to settle up on pace. You can win from last. So with the good pressure on, I think the only queries from the map point of view aren't about will you be back too far? Because the pace will be okay. It's just about if you race too wide.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, with that, there's a couple who might have some queries on the map, including one that I like at odds, but hopefully the one I like at odds can get in. I actually do map it getting in, but it does have a very wide gate. But yeah, for those who are drawn okay, I think the map's pretty fair because Eagle Farm is a very fair track.
Yeah, real big deck, isn't it, for those who aren't too
Yeah,
familiar with Brisbane?
yeah, because especially in comparison to its neighbour across the road in Doomben,
Mm.
where yeah, you really want to be on pace near rail, but Eagle Farm is the opposite. So yeah, not too worried about the map except from a barrier point of view.
All right. Well, we'll go through your top few hopes, and I notice here you don't have the favourite on top.
I do not think about it on top. No, I'll think about it third. We'll get to in a minute. But
Yep.
my top rate is Hawaii 5-0, who is trained by Woodhouse and Bott, ridden by Rachel King, barrier 2, and races just behind the speed, as I said. So he's going to get a really good run. He's a very promising 3-year-old who has come from Michael Freeman to Gay and Adrian just in its last 3 runs and has hit new marks. Whatever they're doing with it, they're doing right because it won at Hawkesbury 2 back going 112, which is a new peak for it, and then held that 112 last start at Eagle Farm over the 1400 meters in the Fred Best Classic. And yeah, that it's still improving as a horse. It's a 3-year-old. We obviously can't say we've seen its top, but it's rating really well and racing really well and gets every possible. I make it a $4.70 chance, and when the emergencies come out of the markets are a bit sort of irrelevant right now because the emergencies are priced in, and so but they're priced in higher percentage. It's going to be at least it'll be backable on the day. It should be at least 550 on the day and backable Hawaii 50.
Yeah, and important now. I think that you're giving us your rated prices, so on Saturday we'll know whether the value's there or not.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I just wait till Saturday because to bet that is because it will change depending on what is scratched between now and then with those emergencies having it some chance. So yeah, but on the day anything above $5, I'd want to be on Hawaii 50.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Good stuff. Now, second is a pretty interesting one and a bit further down the board, number 12, Afcaman.
Yeah, this is the one I mentioned that has got a wide draw. A little bit of speculation from me pushing this horse forward, especially from the wide draw. I've given it a mark that it hasn't done before, but I just feel that it has the ability one day to do a higher mark than it's done. It's been a solid 112 horse in its last three of its last 6 runs, 2 of its last 5 runs, I should say, and so it's doing that pretty comfortably. It's doing that when it's had things go against it in the run and all that kind of thing. So this says to me that Half Cabin, we haven't seen its top yet. I think there's another level in this horse for sure. It's a talented horse. It's got a turn of foot. Just watching it run, I've seen it all its career, obviously, and it's always shown this turn of foot that shows it could be quite a nice horse. It's a rising 4-year-old now, so as a 4-year-old, we might see its best. It has drawn wide. It's drawn 19, I think it is, before scratching. It's coming to, I think, or might be wide. But it's 15. No, it's drawn 19. So yeah, if the emergencies are scratched, it'll come into 15. And I do map it getting a trail 3 wide. That's not to say it certainly will, but if you get a trail 3 wide at Eagle Farm, then you're fine because you can just get to the middle and run on. So if McAvoy can get at that spot somewhere in midfield or closer, and then pull to the middle, and it shows that turn of foot, it's a big winning chance for mine, and it's double figure odds for sure. I price it 530. It could be triple that price on the day.
Yeah, nice. Now, third for you is the favourite, the 9. Think about it.
Yeah, Boom Horse, Joseph Pride, Sam
Mm.
Clipperton, and has won. Has only been defeated once, and so it's won 8 out of 9 so far, including 6 out of 6 this prep. Went to a new peak last start at Eagle Farm over 1,300 metres in the Kingsford Smith Cup and went 115, and that's obviously a very nice figure. It's a 4-year-old. It has a little bit more weight than Aft Cabin, for example, and more weight than Hawaii 50, and so that sort of brings it back to them a little bit for me. But it's racing really well, but I don't see it going more than 115. Would be very surprised if it because that was a new level off 110s, 210s the previous start. If it goes more than 115, then we're talking, talking real top liner, and I just don't see it more than 115. It can hold its 115, and that's fine. But for me, holding that doesn't make it a $3 chance, which is about what it is in the real market. I've got it 660, so a bit over twice the market price. So yeah, I'll bet around it. I'll be, as I said, I want to be on Hawaii 5-0 and half cabin, which I've got a little bit ahead of it.
So if it could improve on that, we're talking real sort of top line stuff, but you don't think
Yeah,
it's
well,
quite there?
no, I mean, another level on that takes it to around the 120 mark, which, or maybe down the track, but it's just a bit of a bridge too far this prep. It's had 6 runs this prep. They don't just keep improving like that. I think it's found its top for now.
Next for you is the 5 Converge.
Yeah, another Waterhouse and Bott and Tim Clark runner. This one doesn't race on pace, which is unusual for their runners. Obviously, it gets back and look, it's there's nothing new about this horse. It's been around for a while now. It's 4-year-old, only a 4-year-old, rising 5-year-old, but it's raced a lot, and it got to it's racing in its best form, and it's sort of 114, 115 horse, and it did 114 in the Kingsford Smith last start behind. Think about it, ran second, beaten less than a length. And so on that, it's just a genuine chance, but it's got to make up that length difference. It gets back in the field, which is not that big a concern. Obviously, it's drawn after scratching. The emergencies are out. It'll be out of barrier 13. So yeah, I'll make it an $11 chance.
And of your top hopes, another one at good odds, number 15, Chain of Lightning.
Yeah, so this is an overlay as well. It's working up to its top. It hasn't gone to its top this prep, but what it did do at its top last prep, 111 at Caulfield in the Tristark Stakes, is sort of working up towards last start at Morfordville in the Robert Sangster. It came home from near last around the turn to get home really strongly over 1,200 metres. That was there, going 108, gets up to 1,400 here. It did its 111 peak in the Tristark over 1,400 at Caulfield, so sort of with a bit of pace on, running on from back at a Like Eagle Farm. So yeah, I'm marking it up close to it, or marking it up to its top. I think it can do its best and makes it. It doesn't make it, the top pick or anything. I make it a $16 chance, and it's going to could be close to double that on the day. So it's a sneaky little each way value bet.
Nice, so a bit of value there. Do you just want to quickly run through those numbers again with your rated prices?
Yeah, sure. So 18 Hawaii 5-0's my top rater at 470, and then the 12 Aft Cabin at 530, the 9 Think About It at 660, who's the favourite, and then the 5 Converge at $11, and the 15 Chain of Lightning at $16. And of course, that assumes that the emergencies don't get a run. Just to repeat on that, 20 Opal Ridge and 23 Yellow Brick are both about $14, $15 chances for me if they do get a run.
Plenty of value everywhere. Anyway, how good's the?
Because I'm opposing the favourite, I think there's definitely value to be had.
How good's a big handicap?
I love it. I absolutely love the handicaps. It's because you get value in handicaps. There's not sort of just in the weight for age races. There's one that's just better than them. It's $2 favourite, whatever, and you don't want to back it. You don't want to back against it. This is great racing. Handicaps are the best ones to bet in.
Absolutely, good stuff. Well, thanks for that, Camo. Great to get your rated price as usual. We'll have plenty of value to look for on Saturday, and we'll also have a look at the head-to-head multis.
Definitely. Yep. Thanks, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.